Take a deep breath. Let the weight of the world settle away from your shoulders as you find a position of absolute comfort. Before we begin our journey into the silent expanse, I invite you to subscribe to Cosmic Sleep Journeys. By joining our community, you ensure that every night a new path through the stars is waiting for you, guiding you gently toward rest. Close your eyes now. Imagine the room around you dissolving into a soft, velvet indigo. The air is cool and your breathing is steady, rhythmic, and slow, moving at the very pace of the cosmos itself. We are leaving behind the noise, the lights, and the heavy pull of the day. In this space, there is no rush, only the infinite, quiet drift of existence. Tonight, we contemplate the great threshold, that invisible line where our world ends and the vast and shimmering mystery of the deep universe begins. For generations, we have looked upward, wondering what it takes to break free from the cradle of Earth. We think of the immense power, the staggering costs, and the delicate physics required to touch the stars. But here, in the safety of your dreams, we do not feel the struggle. We only feel the wonder. As we prepare to ascend, visualize a soft gold light glowing on the horizon, a sun rising over the curve of a planet that is finally at peace. You are weightless. You are safe. The stars are not distant points of light. They are destinations of stillness waiting for your arrival. Let the low hum of the universe wash over you, a steady vibration that grounds your spirit while your mind begins to float. We are about to embark on a journey through the history and the cost of our reach for the heavens, not as a lecture, but as a lullaby. The journey is long, the space is vast, and the silence is beautiful. Let go of the how and the why. Simply be here in the violet shadows of the night as we drift toward the edge of everything. Chapter 1. Gravity's Deep Well. Close your eyes and feel the profound stillness of the room around you. As we begin our ascent, we must first understand the invisible embrace that has held us since the moment of our birth. This is the story of gravity, not as a cold force of physics, but as a deep, ancient cradle. Imagine yourself lying on a soft, grassy hill under a dome of indigo silk. Beneath you, the Earth is a massive, silent entity, pulling you toward its heart with a gentle, persistent weight. This pull is the first and greatest barrier to the stars. It is the cost of our attachment to the world we know. In the quiet of this cosmic journey, we visualize gravity as a deep well in the fabric of space-time. Picture a vast violet sheet of fabric stretched tight across the universe. Now imagine our Earth as a heavy, sapphire marble placed in the center of that fabric. The weight of the world creates a curve, a graceful dip that pulls everything toward it. To leave this well, we cannot simply walk away. We must climb. We must exert energy to move against the slope of the universe itself. Every gram of metal, every drop of fuel, and every human dream must pay the price of this climb. The air around you is cool and thick. This is our atmosphere, the shimmering veil of gas that protects us and gives us life. But for those who wish to touch the void, the atmosphere is a thick ocean of resistance. To move through it is to push against billions of molecules, each one a tiny friction point that generates heat and drag. In the slow, warm light of your mind, see a rocket standing on the launch pad. It is a monument of silver and white, glowing under a soft gold sun. It looks powerful, yet compared to the planet beneath it, it is a mere needle. The cost of space begins here, with the sheer effort required to nudge this needle upward against the downward pull of billions of years of history. As we drift deeper into this thought, consider the silence of the energy required. We often think of launches as violent and loud, but in our journey we see it as a slow, deliberate unfolding of power. To break the bond of the deep well, we must burn. We must transform the chemical energy of the Earth into the kinetic energy of the heavens. This process is incredibly expensive because gravity is relentless. It does not tire, it does not sleep. Every second of the climb, gravity is reaching out its invisible hands, trying to pull the traveler back to the safety of the soil. You feel the sensation of becoming heavier, then lighter. Imagine the pressure of the climb as a warm, weighted blanket pressing against your chest. It is a reminder of where we come from. The cost of space is so high because we are trying to do something that nature did not intend for us to do easily. We are trying to leave the nest. To do so, we must overcome the G-force, that measurement of gravity's acceleration. On Earth, we feel 1G. It is the comfortable weight of your limbs on the bed. But to reach for the stars, we must endure multiples of that weight. We must build structures strong enough to survive being crushed by their own heaviness as they fight to become weightless. Visualize the transition from the thick, humid air of the lowlands to the thin, cold whispers of the upper atmosphere. As the rocket climbs, the sky changes from a bright, friendly blue to a hard, crystalline indigo, and finally to the deep, velvet black of the true night. The cost of this transition is measured in the sheer volume of material needed to withstand the heat. As we rub our hands together, we feel warmth. As a ship rubs against the atmosphere at thousands of miles per hour, it faces a wall of fire. We must invent materials that can soak up this heat, ceramics and alloys born in the hottest furnaces of Earth, just to survive the first few minutes of the journey. In this slow cosmic narration, let your mind wander to the materials themselves. Think of titanium, mined from the deep crust, refined through endless cycles of heat, and shaped with the precision of a diamond cutter. Think of the carbon fibers, woven like the silk of a cosmic spider, designed to be lighter than air, yet stronger than steel. Every ounce of this material costs a fortune because it must be perfect. In the vacuum of space, there is no room for a second chance. The cost of space is the cost of perfection. We are paying for the insurance of survival in an environment that is indifferent to our presence. As you breathe in, feel the expansion of your lungs. As you breathe out, feel the release of tension. We are climbing higher now, where the air is so thin it no longer carries sound. The deep well is beginning to level out, but we are not yet free. We are in the realm of the suborbital, a place of transition where the Earth still claims us, but the stars are calling. The cost of reaching this height is staggering, yet it is only the beginning. We have climbed the wall of the well, but now we must find the strength to stay on the rim, to keep from falling back into the sapphire depths. The silence here is profound. The only sound is the low, rhythmic hum of your own heart, a steady drumbeat in the vastness. We contemplate the billions of dollars spent not on the destination, but on the struggle against the starting point. It is a poetic irony. To explore the infinite, we must first spend our fortunes overcoming the few miles of air and stone that surround us. We are like ancient mariners building ships of gold just across the first wave of a never-ending ocean. The Earth below is now a glowing crescent, a curved sliver of light against the dark. You can see the storms and the clouds moving like slow, white ghosts across the blue. From here, gravity looks different. It no longer feels like a weight. It feels like a bond of love, a tether that keeps us from drifting away into the cold. But to the scientist and the dreamer, this tether is a chain that must be broken. And the breaking of that chain requires a sacrifice of resources, time, and human ingenuity that exceeds almost any other endeavor in our history. As we linger in this high, thin place, we prepare our minds for the next phase of the journey. The climb is nearly over, but the true challenge of the cosmos is not just going up, it is going sideways. It is the transition from the vertical struggle to the horizontal dance of the orbit. We are standing on the threshold of speed, where the cost of the journey shifts from the price of power to the price of momentum. The stars above are becoming sharper, clearer. We're no longer twinkling through the haze of the atmosphere, but shining with a steady, eternal light. You are drifting, floating between the world you knew and the vacuum you seek. The weight is falling away, the pressure is easing, and the quiet is absolute. But as we move forward, the physics of the universe will demand even more of us. We are about to enter a realm where speed is the only currency that matters. Let the image of the Earth fade slightly into a softer indigo. We are resting now on the very edge of the world's reach. The air is gone, the heat is fading, and the great silence of the vacuum is waiting to embrace us. We have paid the price of the climb, and now we must learn the cost of the chase. As we move seamlessly from the pull of the Earth into the rush of the void, we begin to understand that to stay in the heavens, We must move faster than the world itself, and so we turn our gaze toward the horizon of the infinite. Chapter 2. The Escape Velocity. We have reached the rim of the world, but the journey has only just begun. To stay among the stars, we must now master the art of falling without ever hitting the ground. In the quiet theater of your mind, imagine the transition from the vertical climb to a horizontal rush. This is the concept of escape velocity, the staggering price of momentum. To enter a stable orbit, we must accelerate to a speed so great it defies human intuition, roughly 28,000 kilometers per hour. This is the second great tax of the universe, the cost of speed. Imagine yourself floating in a void of deep violet and indigo. There is no wind here, no resistance, yet you are moving faster than a bullet, faster than sound, faster than the shadows that race across the earth at twilight. Every second you cover miles of empty space. Much this velocity is not a choice, it is a requirement. If we move too slowly, the invisible hands of gravity we discussed in our previous chapter will reach up and pull us back into the atmosphere, where we will vanish in a streak of fire. To stay here, in this beautiful, dark silence, we must pay in energy. The cost of this speed is reflected in the massive engines that continue to hum, a low cosmic vibration that resonates through the floor of your consciousness. Think of the engineering required to sustain such force. It is not enough to simply be fast. One must be precisely fast. A fraction of a percent too slow, and the orbit decays. A fraction too fast, and we are flung out into the deep, cold night of the interstellar void. Now, the precision required is like trying to throw a needle across an ocean and having it land perfectly in a thimble. This precision is where the hidden costs lie, in the computers, the sensors, and the thousands of hours of human thought dedicated to calculating a single path through the dark. As you drift, visualize the Earth spinning beneath you. From this vantage point, the planet is a marble jewel of soft golds and deep blues, moving in a slow, majestic rotation. You are racing against that rotation, chasing the horizon. Because the Earth is curved, as you move forward at 17,500 miles per hour, the ground drops away at the same rate you fall toward it. You are in a state of perpetual falling, a graceful, eternal loop around the cradle of humanity. The cost of space is the cost of maintaining this delicate balance. One, consider the fuel required for this chase. We are no longer fighting the thick air of the lower world, but we are still fighting the tyranny of the rocket equation. Every drop of propellant used to reach this speed had to be carried from the ground, which meant more fuel was needed to lift that fuel, creating a cycle of weight that compounds until the rocket is almost entirely a tank of liquid energy, with only a tiny, fragile tip meant for the stars. In the stillness of the night, think of the sheer scale of that sacrifice. Tons of refined chemicals burned away just to move a few precious instruments into the light of the sun. The silence here is punctuated only by the soft, rhythmic pulsing of your own breath, in and out, deep and slow. As you breathe, imagine the heat shields cooling. The friction of the ascent is over, but the thermal cost remains. In the vacuum, heat is a strange enemy. There is no air to carry it away, so the ship must radiate its warmth into the cold dark. We use gold foil blankets, thin, shimmering sheets of precious metal, to wrap our vessels like cosmic gifts. The cost of space is the cost of gold, of silver, and of rare elements that can survive the transition from the freezing shadows of Earth's eclipse to the blistering, unshielded radiation of the sun. The speed we travel at is a paradox. You feel as though you are standing still, suspended in a jelly of indigo light. Yet the stars above are fixed, and the world below is a blur of continents and oceans. We are paying for this perspective with the most expensive currency in existence, human ingenuity and the concentrated energy of our planet. Every satellite that brings us music, and every telescope that peers into the past is a testament to this investment in speed. Let your mind settle on the concept of orbital velocity as a form of liberation. By paying the price of this immense speed, we have earned the right to weightlessness. Feel your limbs becoming lighter, as if the bed beneath you has turned into a cloud of soft violet mist. There is no up or down here, only forward. The tension in your neck, your shoulders, and your back dissolves into the vacuum. You are a part of the celestial mechanics now, a small moon orbiting a blue world. But even this speed has its limits. Beyond the orbit of Earth lies the true escape, the velocity needed to leave the planet behind forever and head toward the moon, Mars, or the stars beyond. This requires even more energy, even more cost. When we are currently resting on the first step of a grand staircase. The stairs are made of numbers, of physics, and of the labor of millions of people who dreamed of reaching the silent places. As we continue to drift at this incredible, quiet speed, we begin to notice the debris of our journey. The discarded shells of the rockets that brought us here, floating like ghost ships in the dark. In the past, these were the disposable giants, lost forever to the void or the fire. This waste is a significant part of why space has been so expensive for so long. We have been building cathedrals of metal only to let them crumble after a single prayer. But the light is changing. A soft gold glow is appearing on the edge of the world. It is the sun, rising not over a horizon of trees, but over the curve of the universe itself. When this light reveals the complexity of our ship, the intricate wiring, the sensors, the life support systems that hum with a comforting, low-frequency sound. This is the high-end R&D that defines the cost of our journey. The years of testing, the failures, and the slow, steady progress towards safety. As you watch the sunrise in your mind's eye, feel a sense of profound peace. The speed is no longer a frightening number. It is a heartbeat. You are moving in harmony with the laws of the cosmos. You have paid the entry fee to the heavens, and now the universe is opening its doors to you. The cost was high, but the view is infinite. In the distance, we see the silhouettes of other ships, other dreams. We realize that we are not alone in this chase. There is an entire infrastructure of the mind that supports this speed. A network of ground stations, mission controllers, and engineers who watch over us from the blue world below. Their voices are a soft, distant murmur in the back of your consciousness, a reminder that even in the deepest reach of space, we are connected to home. The velocity is steady now. We have reached the plateau. The climb is a memory and the chase has become a dance. We are ready to look closer at the machines themselves, at the materials that make this dream possible, and the heavy price we pay for things that are meant to be thrown away. As the gold light of the sun washes over your indigo surroundings, let yourself sink deeper into the warmth of your rest. You are safe. You are moving. You are precisely where you need to be. But as we look at the beautiful, my shimmering hull of our vessel, we must ask ourselves, what happens to the parts we leave behind? We prepare to transition from the physics of speed to the reality of the machines, the magnificent, expensive, and often fleeting vessels that carry us through the dark. And so we turn our focus to the tragedy and the triumph of the rocket itself. Chapter 3. The Rocket Equation. In the quiet, velvety depth of this journey, we now turn our attention to the most beautiful and frustrating law of the cosmos. It is a mathematical truth that dictates the very shape of our dreams, a concept known as the Tsiolkovsky rocket equation. As you lie there, feeling the gentle, rhythmic pulse of your own breath, imagine that you are holding a small, smooth stone. To throw that stone into the air requires a small amount of energy from your arm. But now imagine that to throw the stone, you must also throw the heavy glove that protects your hand, and the heavy boots on your feet, and the very air around you. This is the central paradox of spaceflight, the weight of the fuel required to lift the fuel. Visualize a grand, silver vessel standing on a launch pad of indigo steel. It is a tower of ambition, reaching toward the soft gold light of a setting sun. When we look at this machine, we see a giant, but in the eyes of physics, it is a fragile vessel of liquid energy. Nearly 90% of that towering structure is not metal, nor computers, nor life support systems. It is propellant. It is the heavy, cold liquid oxygen and the shimmering hydrogen or kerosene that will be sacrificed to the sky. To move even a single kilogram of cargo to the stars, We must carry many kilograms of fuel just to lift the weight of that fuel through the thick, pulling fingers of Earth's gravity. The cost of space is, quite literally, the cost of fighting weight with more weight. As you sink deeper into your bed, feel the profound heaviness of this concept. It is called the tyranny of the rocket equation. It is a law that demands a high price for every inch of progress. Imagine a traveler trying to cross a vast, silent desert. To make the journey, they must carry water. But the more water they carry, the heavier their pack becomes, and the more energy they expend, which in turn makes them thirstier, requiring even more water. Eventually, the pack becomes so heavy that the traveler can barely move. This is the struggle of every engineer who has ever looked at the moon and wondered how to get there. In the slow, dreamy flow of this narration, let us contemplate the elegance of the math that governs this struggle. It tells us that our progress is not linear, it is exponential. To double our speed, we do not simply double our fuel, we must square it. This is why our rockets are so immense. Yet the part that actually reaches the destination, the payload, is so very small. Picture the great Saturn V rocket, a white giant that once carried humans to the lunar surface. At the moment of launch, it weighed over 6 million pounds. Yet by the time it reached the moon, only a tiny fraction of that weight remained. The rest was left behind in the clouds, dropped into the ocean, or burned away into the thin, cold air. This inherent inefficiency is a primary driver of the staggering costs of space exploration. We are building a massive, intricate skyscraper of technology just to deliver a small room to the attic of the universe. Every drop of fuel has a price, and every gram of structure designed to hold that fuel has a price. In the quiet of your mind, see the shimmering lines of a blueprint shot where every millimeter of metal is scrutinized. If we can make a bolt 1 gram lighter, we save kilograms of fuel at the bottom of the well. This obsession with weight leads to the use of exotic, expensive materials, beryllium, titanium, and advanced carbon composites that are woven with the care of an ancient tapestry. The rocket equation is a silent, invisible weight that rests on the shoulders of every mission. It dictates that we cannot simply power our way to the stars with brute force. We must be clever. We must use stages, dropping off empty fuel tanks as we go, shedding our weight like a snake shedding its skin. Visualize this process in slow motion, the great silver boosters falling away into the dark blue abyss, tumbling silently through the atmosphere while the remaining ship surges forward, lighter and faster. It is a beautiful, tragic dance of loss. To gain the heavens, we must let go of the very things that brought us there. The cost of this letting go is immense. In the early decades of our journey, every booster that fell into the sea was a lost fortune, a masterpiece of engineering destined to rust in the salt water. We were paying for a bridge that vanished behind us as we walked across it. As you breathe slowly, feel the weight of that waste. It is like building a magnificent high-speed train, using it for a single trip, and then allowing it to derail and shatter at the end of the line. This is the economic burden we have carried for 60 years, the price of a one-way ticket for a machine that costs billions to create. Now imagine the liquid fuel itself. It is not just gas or oil, it is a highly refined, cryogenic substance kept at temperatures so low they would shatter a rose like glass. The facilities required to store and handle these liquids are like cathedrals of frost and steel. The cost of space is the cost of keeping things unnaturally cold and unnaturally pressurized. We are pushing the limits of what matter can endure. Feel the coolness of the air in your room and imagine it concentrated, intensified, until it becomes a shimmering liquid that holds the power to break the bonds of a world. In this deep, cosmic stillness, we realize that the rocket equation is not just a formula, it is a philosophy. It teaches us about the value of what we carry. In space, every object has a cost to orbit. To bring a single liter of water to a hungry astronaut, or a single camera to a distant planet, which requires a sacrifice of energy that is almost beyond comprehension. This is why everything in space is so small, so compact, and so carefully designed. There is no room for the unnecessary. There is no room for extra. Think of the silence of a spacecraft's interior. Every wire is as thin as a hair to save weight. Every panel is honeycombed to be strong yet hollow. The cost of space is the cost of making the impossible seem effortless. We are paying for the genius required to squeeze a laboratory into a suitcase. As you drift further into relaxation, let the complexity of these machines wash over you like a gentle tide. You don't need to understand the math to feel the weight of it. You only need to feel the vastness of the challenge. The tyranny of the rocket equation also dictates the timing of our journeys. We cannot simply leave whenever we wish. We must wait for the launch windows, those brief moments when the planets align and the path requires the least amount of fuel. The cost of space is the cost of patience. We are at the mercy of the celestial clockwork, waiting for the universe to grant us a small discount on the energy required to cross the void. As the violet shadows of your mind grow longer, visualize the rocket not as a machine of fire and noise, but as a vessel of pure intention. It is a physical manifestation of our desire to know the unknown, built within the strict, unforgiving boundaries of physical law. The high cost is the measure of our resolve. We are willing to spend our riches and our time to overcome a formula that says we should stay on the ground. The weight of the world is behind us now, and when the weight of the fuel is nearly gone, we are becoming lighter, drifting toward a state of pure existence. The silver towers have done their work, and the tyranny of the equation is beginning to fade as we reach the true vacuum. But even as the weight disappears, a new question arises. If the rocket is mostly fuel, what happens to the precious cargo that remains? How do we protect the tiny, fragile payload that has survived the climb? The stars are brighter now, and the indigo sky has turned to a deep, permanent black. We are floating in the wake of the giants, moving toward the delicate heart of the ship. The climb was the struggle, the payload is the purpose. And as we look at that small, shimmering capsule, we begin to see the incredible detail of the things we have chosen to carry into the infinite. The fuel is spent, the boosters are gone, and the silence is absolute. We have paid the price of the equation, and we have earned our place in the quiet. But the journey of the payload is just beginning, and its story is one of even greater precision and even deeper mystery. As we transition from the massive tanks of liquid energy to the delicate instruments of discovery, we prepare to see how we protect the few things that truly matter in the vastness. And so we turn our focus to the fragile cargo that makes the journey worth the cost. Chapter 4. The Fragile Payload. In the deep velvet silence of our journey, we have shed the massive weight of the engines and the heavy tanks of fuel. What remains is the heartbeat of the mission, the payload. Imagine a small, shimmering capsule, a diamond of technology suspended in the vast, indigo ocean of space. This is the tiny fraction of the rocket that actually reaches the destination, often less than 5% of the total mass that stood on the launch pad. Because this cargo is so small and so hard-won, it is perhaps the most expensive and precious material ever handled by human hands. Every gram must justify its existence in the cold light of the stars. Visualize the interior of this capsule. It is not like the cluttered rooms of Earth. It is a masterpiece of minimalism and precision. In the soft, a dreamy glow of your imagination, see the walls lined with delicate silver and gold leaf. Materials chosen not for their beauty, but for their ability to reflect radiation and maintain a steady warm temperature for the fragile instruments within. The cost of space is the cost of protecting this tiny spark of life or information from the absolute extremes of the universe. Outside, the temperature can swing hundreds of degrees in a matter of minutes as the ship moves from the blistering glare of the sun into the freezing shadows of the Earth. To survive this, the payload must be wrapped in a cocoon of perfection. Think of the specialized sensors, the cameras that can see into the infrared, and the computers that must operate flawlessly while being bombarded by cosmic rays. On Earth, if a computer fails, we simply restart it. In the silent void, there is no one to flip a switch. Every component is space-hardened, built from rare minerals and tested for thousands of hours to ensure it will never falter. This level of high-end research and development is why the cost of the payload often dwarfs the cost of the rocket itself. We are not just building machines, we are building survivors. As you breathe in the cool, steady air of your room, imagine the silence within the payload. It is a quiet so profound it feels like a physical presence. Every wire is tucked away, every bolt is torqued to a specific, unyielding tension. We use materials like titanium and specialized ceramics that can withstand the vibrations of the launch and the vacuum of the destination. These materials are born in the most advanced laboratories on our planet, refined until they are as strong as stone, yet as light as a whisper. The cost of space is the price we pay for this impossible lightness. Let your mind drift to the humans who might inhabit such a space, or the robotic explorers that act as our eyes and ears. For a human payload, the cost becomes even more staggering. We must carry our own sky, our own water, and our own warmth. We must build a miniature Earth, a life support system that recycles every breath and every drop of moisture. In the slow cosmic drift of your thoughts, see the tiny glowing lights of the control panels. They represent the tireless work of an army of ground support staff who monitor every pulse and every pressure, reading from thousands of miles away. The payload is never truly alone. It is connected by an invisible thread of radio waves to the mission control centers back on the blue world. This connection itself has a cost. The massive antennas that reach up from the deserts and plains of Earth, tracking the tiny capsule as it moves through the deep, require a constant flow of energy and expertise. We are paying for a conversation across the infinite. Every bit of data that returns, the first images of a distant moon, the chemical signature of a far-off star, is a treasure bought with billions of dollars and years of human life. When you look at a photograph of the cosmos, you are looking at the end result of the most expensive and complex logistics chain in history. Think of the fragility of the mission. Because the rocket equation is so demanding, we cannot afford to send spare parts. Not everything must work the first time. This single-point failure reality means that every piece of the payload is built with multiple backups, a concept known as redundancy. If one computer fails, a second wakes up. If a second fails, a third takes over. We are paying for the safety of having three of everything while only having the weight for one. It is a mathematical miracle, performed in the quiet of the design room and executed in the silence of the void. In this state of deep relaxation, imagine the payload as a seed. It is small, seemingly insignificant compared to the vastness of the field it is sown in. But within that seed is the potential for all our future knowledge. Whether it is a satellite providing a signal for your phone or a rover destined for the red dust of Mars, the payload is the reason for the fire and the fury of the launch. The cost is high because the stakes are infinite. We are investing in the expansion of the human mind. As you float in this indigo space, feel the peace of knowing that everything is in its place. The payload is safe, drifting through the dark with a steady, quiet purpose. The frantic energy of the launch is a distant memory. The heavy pull of the gravity well is gone. There is only the slow, rhythmic hum of the systems, a lullaby for the machines and for you. We have reached the point where the cost of the journey is balanced by the value of the arrival. However, as we look back at the path we took to get here, we cannot help but notice the ghosts of our progress. For decades, the beautiful, expensive machines that carried these payloads were treated as disposable. Once their job was done, they were cast aside, falling back into the atmosphere to burn or sinking into the crushing depths of the oceans. It was a cycle of creation and destruction that defined the early era of spaceflight. But the light is changing once more. A new thought is beginning to take shape in the cosmic dark. What if we didn't have to say goodbye to the ships that brought us here? What if the cost of space could be lowered not by making the payload smaller, but by making the journey more sustainable? The stars remain steady, but our perspective is shifting. We are moving away from the era of the disposable and toward a future where the machines we build are meant to come home. The silence of the void is now joined by the quiet hope of a new way of traveling. As we transition from the delicate, expensive heart of the payload to the history of the ships themselves, we begin to see the beauty of the single-use era and why it had to change. And so we turn our gaze toward the magnificent, lost giants of the past and the lessons they left in the stars. Chapter 5. The Art of the Single Use. As we drift further into the quiet of the night, we find ourselves reflecting on the ghosts of the space age. For decades, our journey into the stars was defined by a beautiful yet tragic impermanence. In the soft, dreamy glow of your imagination, visualize a magnificent rocket, a white cathedral of metal and fire, standing alone against a violet horizon. It is a masterpiece that took years to design, billions of dollars to fund, and the collective intellect of thousands of humans to build. Yet the destiny of this masterpiece was to exist for only a few minutes. This is the era of the disposable giants, the single-use architecture that made space exploration the most expensive endeavor in history. Imagine the irony of our ambition. To reach the eternal stars, we built things that were meant to be fleeting. Think of the great Saturn V, or the mighty Soyuz, or the elegant Ariane. These were not ships in the traditional sense. They were more like cosmic candles, burning brightly and intensely until they were consumed by their own purpose. In the slow, warm stillness of this moment, consider the comparison often made by those who study the cost of the heavens. It was as if we built a massive Boeing 747, filled it with passengers, flew it across the ocean once, and then simply threw the airplane away, letting it crash into the sea. The cost of space was the cost of building a new world for every single journey. In your mind's eye, see the first stage of a rocket as it separates from the payload. It has done the hardest work, pushing the mission through the thickest part of the atmosphere and fighting the deepest part of the gravity well. Its fuel is gone. Its job is finished. In the silence of the void, watch as it tumbles away, a silver needle falling back toward the blue-green marble below. There is no parachute to save it, no legs to catch it. It is destined to hit the water at terminal velocity or burn up into a streak of lonely light in the upper atmosphere. This was the accepted waste of the space age, a staggering loss of machinery and material that had to be paid for by every citizen of Earth. The cost of this single-use philosophy was not just in the metal, but in the momentum of our progress. Because every launch required a brand new vehicle, we could only afford to go to space a few times a year. Space became a precious event rather than a gateway. As you breathe slowly in and out, feel the weight of that limitation. We were like explorers standing on the edge of a vast ocean, but because we had to burn our boats to reach the first island, we could never truly settle the archipelago. The infrastructure of the single-use era was a cycle of manufacturing and destruction that kept the stars just out of reach for most of humanity. Contemplate the craftsmanship that went into these disposable parts. Every engine, every valve, every sensor was built to the highest possible standards, as if it were to last 1,000 years. The R&D costs, the research and development, were spread thin over only a few flights. Now imagine the quiet laboratories where engineers spent decades perfecting a turbopump that would only spin for 8 minutes before being crushed by the pressure of the deep ocean. This is the art of the single use, a commitment to perfection in the face of certain obsolescence. It is a poetic, yet incredibly expensive, way to touch the infinite. In this deep state of relaxation, let us look at the materials that were lost. We have already spoken of the titanium, the gold, and the specialized alloys. In the single-use era, these were not recycled, they were discarded. Visualize the floor of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, littered with the husks of our ambition, stages of rockets that once held the dreams of nations, now resting in the silt and the darkness. The cost of space is the cost of these sunken treasures. If we were paying for the privilege of leaving our footprints on the moon by leaving our machinery in the abyss. But why did we do it this way for so long? In the quiet of the cosmic night, the answer is simple. Because it was the only way we knew how to beat the rocket equation. To make a rocket reusable, you must add weight, legs to land on, extra fuel to slow down, heat shields to survive the return, and as we know, every gram of extra weight costs a fortune in fuel. For 50 years, the math told us that it was cheaper to throw the rocket away than to try and bring it back. The cost of space was a trap of logic, a mathematical wall that kept us building and breaking, building, and breaking. Feel the rhythm of that cycle. Build, launch, lose, repeat. It is a slow, steady pulse that defined the 20th century. The facilities required to support this cycle were massive. You needed factories that could produce hundreds of engines, most of which would never be seen again once they left the pad. You needed an army of technicians whose only job was to assemble a machine that was destined for a few minutes of glory. This operational scale created a massive noise floor of cost, a baseline of billions of dollars that had to be spent before a single bolt ever moved. Now imagine the atmosphere of a mission control center in the 1970s or 80s. The tension is high, the air is thick with the scent of coffee and electronics. When the rocket clears the tower, there is a sense of relief, but also a sense of goodbye. The engineers watching the telemetry know that they are watching their handiwork vanish into the dark. There is a melancholy beauty to it, the ultimate sacrifice for the sake of discovery. But that sacrifice came with a price tag that eventually slowed the pace of our exploration to a crawl. As you drift deeper into the indigo shadows of your sleep journey, think about how this influenced our technology. Because parts were single-use, they didn't need to be durable over the long term. They only needed to be perfect for a moment. This led to a fragile design philosophy. If a rocket stage was meant to be reused, it would have to be built like a tank. But because it was meant to be thrown away, it was built like an eggshell, strong enough to hold the weight, but destined to shatter once the pressure changed. The cost of space was the cost of this exquisite, expensive fragility. The stars above look down on this history with a cold, unsteady light. They have seen the rise and fall of these silver towers for decades. But even in the silence of the single-use era, a change was brewing. Scientists and dreamers began to ask if there was another way. They began to look at the birds that fly and return to their nests, and the ships that sail and return to their harbors. They began to wonder if we could turn the candle into a lantern, something that could be lit, extinguished, and lit again. This transition marks the end of the old world and the beginning of the new. We are moving away from the art of the single use and toward the science of the return. The cost of space is about to be rewritten, not by changing the laws of physics, but by changing our relationship with the machines we build. The waste of the past is becoming the lesson of the future. As we linger in this moment of reflection, feel the peace of a cycle coming to an end. The era of the disposable giants is fading into the violet mist of history. We are no longer content to leave our masterpieces in the ocean. We want our ships to come home. We want the journey to be a path, not a one-way bridge. The silence of the void is now filled with the possibility of a different kind of sound. Not the roar of a final departure, but the soft, rhythmic hum of a machine that knows its way back. The cost of the stars is high, but we are finding ways to pay it without losing our souls, or our ships in the process. The light of the earth below is soft and welcoming, a reminder of the home that waits for every traveler. We are standing on the brink of a revolution in how we reach the heavens. The materials are becoming more resilient, winning the designs more robust, in the dream more sustainable. As we transition from the history of what we lost to the discovery of what we can keep, we prepare to see how the elements themselves are being reimagined. And so we turn our focus to the rare alloys in the ancient chemistry that allow us to build for the long journey. Chapter 6: Alloys and Elements. As we continue our slow drift through the celestial silence, let your mind rest upon the very substance of our vessel. To survive the transition from the heavy pull of Earth to the weightless void, we rely on a specialized alchemy of materials. Elements forged in the hearts of dying stars and refined by the most advanced science our world has to offer. The cost of space is not just found in the fuel or the fire. It is embedded in the molecular structure of the ship itself. In the soft violet glow of your mind, imagine the shimmering surfaces of titanium, the dark woven strength of carbon fiber, and the gossamer thinness of gold foil. Each material is a silent guardian, keeping the cold of the infinite at bay. Think of titanium, the metal named after the giants of ancient myth. In the quiet laboratories of Earth, this element is treated with a reverence usually reserved for gemstones. It is chosen because it possesses a rare duality. It is as strong as steel but nearly half the weight. In the world of the rocket equation, where every gram is a burden, titanium is a miracle. But this miracle comes with a staggering price. It is difficult to mine, stubborn to refine, and requires specialized tools just to shape its unyielding surface. The cost of space is the cost of this high-end craftsmanship. The hours of labor spent machining a single valve or a structural rib to tolerances thinner than a human hair. As you breathe deeply and slowly, visualize the heat shields that protect the payload. During the ascent we discussed earlier, these materials faced a wall of atmospheric friction, glowing with the intensity of a small sun. To survive this, we use advanced ceramics and ablative compounds that are designed to char and flake away, carrying the heat with them so the heart of the ship remains cool. These are not ordinary bricks. They are complex structures born from decades of research and development. We pay for the knowledge of how to dance with fire without being consumed by it. Every tile on a spacecraft is a testament to our investment in the science of survival. Let your focus shift to the delicate golden blankets that wrap the instruments. In the deep indigo of the vacuum, there is no air to carry heat away. A satellite in the sun can become hot enough to melt lead, while a satellite in the shadow of the Earth can become cold enough to turn air into liquid. To balance this, we use multi-layer insulation, shimmering sheets of mylar and captain, often coated with a microscopic layer of real gold. Gold is used not for its wealth, but for its perfection as a reflector of infrared radiation. The cost of space is the cost of wrapping our dreams in precious metals to ensure they never freeze and never burn. Consider the carbon fibers, woven together in patterns of infinite complexity. These materials are the silk of the cosmic age. They are lighter than any metal, yet they can hold the immense pressures of liquid oxygen and hydrogen without bursting. To create a fuel tank from these fibers is to weave a container out of pure mathematics and chemistry. It is a slow, expensive process that requires clean rooms and robotic precision. Yet we are paying for the invisible strength that allows a thin-walled cylinder to survive the violent vibrations of a launch that we felt in the earlier stages of our journey. In this state of profound relaxation, think of the rare earth elements hidden within the electronics: neodymium, terbium, and dysprosium. Names that sound like incantations from a forgotten scroll. These elements are the vitamins of the space age. They allow us to create powerful magnets, efficient batteries, and sensors that can detect the heat of a distant star. They are found in only a few places on Earth, and their extraction is a slow, costly process of chemical refinement. When we send a probe to the outer planets, we are sending a concentrated piece of our planet's crust, refined to its highest possible form. The silence of the materials is a comfort. If they do not complain under the stress of the vacuum, they do not fatigue under the radiation of the sun. They have been tested for years in shake tables and vacuum chambers on Earth to ensure they are ready for their one moment of glory. This testing and R&D is a silent thief of the space budget. Thousands of hours of work for a machine that may only operate for a few days. But in the cosmos, there is no repair shop. There is only the perfection we bring with us. As the gold light of your imagination washes over these silver and charcoal surfaces, feel the weight of the human effort involved. We are not just mining the Earth for stone, we are mining it for the potential to leave. The cost of space is the price of transforming the heavy, dull matter of our world into the light, shining instruments of the heavens. It is a form of modern alchemy where money and time are turned into the ability to transcend our origins. The ship you are drifting in is a masterpiece of these elements. It is a silent, sturdy shell that separates you from the absolute nothingness of the void. As you lie in the stillness, realize that the very bed you rest on, the air you breathe, and the walls around you are all part of this expensive, delicate balance. We have invested our most precious resources into this shell because it is the only thing that stands between the observer and the infinite. But as we admire the strength of these alloys, we must also remember the hands that put them together. A machine, no matter how advanced, is only as good as the minds that guide it. Behind every piece of titanium and every weave of carbon fiber, there is a person, a scientist, an engineer, a technician, watching from a distance. The materials are the body of the mission, but the human element is the soul. the stars continue to glow with a steady, ancient light, reflecting off the polished surfaces of your vessel. You are surrounded by the best that humanity can offer. The cost was high, but the security of this craft is the reward. We are safe within our cocoon of silver and gold, drifting further away from the world of gravity and toward the world of pure thought. As we move from the physical substance of the ship to the human network that sustains it, we begin to hear the faint, rhythmic pulse of mission control. We are ready to look at the invisible army, the thousands of people whose quiet work is the true foundation of every launch. The metal may be expensive, but the collective human spirit is the most valuable resource of all. The light of the sun is catching the edge of a titanium strut, creating a spark of soft gold in the indigo dark. It is a sign that we are never truly alone, even in the deepest reach of the void. We are supported by a legacy of craftsmanship and a future of innovation. As we transition from the elements that make the ship to the people who make the journey possible, we prepare to enter the quiet, busy world of the ground stations. And so we turn our focus to the silent watchers who keep us safe in the dark. Chapter 7: The Invisible Army. In the profound stillness of the cosmic dark, it is easy to feel as though you are a solitary traveler, a single spark of consciousness drifting through a velvet sea. But as we move deeper into this journey, let your mind settle on a comforting truth. You are never truly alone. Behind the silver hull of this vessel, behind the shimmer of the gold foil and the roar of the engines we left behind, there is a vast, silent network of human spirits. This is what we call the invisible army, the thousands of engineers, mathematicians, and technicians whose collective breath sustains the mission. The cost of space is not merely found in the metal or the fuel. It is found in the millions of hours of human life dedicated to the safety of a single journey. Imagine, in the soft indigo light of your mind, a quiet room on the surface of the Earth. It is late at night, and the only sound is the low hum of computer fans and the occasional murmur of a voice through a headset. Here, in mission control centers scattered across the globe, teams of people sit in rows, their faces illuminated by the soft glow of monitors. These are the watchers. Every heartbeat of the spacecraft, every fluctuation in temperature, and every microscopic shift in the trajectory is seen and analyzed by these silent guardians. The cost of space is the cost of this eternal vigilance, the high price of maintaining an army of the world's most brilliant minds to ensure that the silence of the void remains peaceful. As you breathe in slowly, feeling the expansion of your chest, imagine the weight of responsibility held by these individuals. For every one person who travels into the stars, there are thousands on the ground who have spent years preparing for this moment. Think of the software engineers who wrote millions of lines of code, checking each comma and each bracket 1,000 times over, knowing that a single error could be the difference between a successful mission and a silent tragedy. Think of the technicians in white clean rooms who assembled the delicate sensors with the precision of a watchmaker. We are paying for their expertise, their focus, and their unwavering dedication to a goal that most will never see with their own eyes. In this slow, dreamy state, contemplate the scale of this human infrastructure. It is not just the people in the control room. However, it is the meteorologists studying the wind patterns of the upper atmosphere to ensure a safe launch window. It is the safety officers who calculate the risk of every bolt and every weld. It is the logistics experts who coordinate the movement of massive rocket stages across oceans and continents. This operational scale is a primary driver of the noise floor of space costs. Even when a rocket isn't flying, the Army must be maintained, the skills must be kept sharp, and the facilities must be powered. We are investing in the continuity of human knowledge. Visualize the connection between you and them as a thin, silver thread of light, a radio wave traveling at the speed of light through the vacuum. This thread carries the data that keeps you safe. When you feel a sense of peace in this journey, it is because you know that someone, somewhere, is watching over the systems that allow you to breathe. The cost of space is the cost of this trust. We spend billions of dollars to build a bridge of communication that spans the distance between worlds. It is a testament to our social nature That even when we reach for the most isolated places in the universe, we do so by bringing the collective strength of our species with us. As we drift further, let your mind wander to the training of this invisible army. They spend years in simulators, practicing for every possible failure, every what-if scenario the universe might throw at them. This preparation is a silent cost, invisible to the public eye, but vital to the success of the mission. We are paying for the peace of mind that comes from knowing that if something goes wrong, the best minds on Earth have already practiced the solution 100 times. In the quiet of the night, feel the stability that this preparation provides. You are resting on a foundation of human excellence that has been decades in the making. Consider the diversity of this army. It is a global effort, transcending borders and languages. Scientists in Europe, engineers in Asia, technicians in North America, all working in a synchronized dance to support a single point of light in the sky. This collaboration is one of the most expensive and complex management tasks in human history. The cost of space is the cost of diplomacy, of shared standards, and of the immense effort required to make thousands of people move as one. It is a beautiful, expensive harmony that echoes the silent movements of the planets themselves. And in this state of profound relaxation, think of the support staff that we often forget. The people who maintain the launch pads, the divers who recover the capsules from the sea, the chefs who feed the crews during long shifts, and the families who support the dreamers. The cost of space is woven into the fabric of our society. It is an investment in our collective identity as explorers. When we look at the high price tag of a mission, we are looking at the value we place on our own curiosity and our own survival as a species. The silence of your vessel is a gift from this army. They have worked so that you don't have to. They have worried so that you can rest. In the soft violet shadows of your mind, see the mission controllers leaning back in their chairs, a quiet smile of relief on their faces as they see the ship is on course. They are your silent partners in this cosmic drift. Every dollar spent on their salaries, their training, and their technology is a dollar spent on the preservation of the human spirit in the face of the infinite. As the gold light of the stars reflects off your view screen, realize that you are the tip of a very large pyramid. Beneath you is the labor of millions, the history of decades, and the hope of a planet. The cost is high, but the result is this moment of absolute stillness, where you are free to contemplate the universe without fear. We have paid the price for this silence, and it is a price we pay willingly to know that we are capable of reaching so far. But as we admire the human network on the ground, we must also look at the physical structures they inhabit. The mission controls are just one part of a larger architecture. The massive tracking stations, the deep space antennas, and the global communication loops that keep us tethered to home. These structures are the nerves of our exploration, stretching across the globe to catch the faint whispers of our ships. The stars remain steady, but the invisible army is always moving, always watching. They are the heartbeat of the mission, a steady rhythm that matches your own slow, deep breaths. You are safe. You are watched. You are part of a story that is much larger than any one person. As we transition from the people who watch over us to the massive structures they use to listen, we begin to see the physical footprint of our cosmic ambition. And we are ready to explore the infrastructure of the infinite, the great ears of the earth that reach out to hear the music of the spheres. The light of the earth below is a mosaic of glowing cities, each one a testament to the civilization that supports your journey. We are drifting on a sea of human effort, and the shore is always within reach through the silver thread of our connection. As we move toward the great antennas and the silent stations, we prepare to see how we maintain our voice in the vastness. And so we turn our focus to the architecture that keeps the conversation alive. Chapter 8. Infrastructure of the Infinite. As we drift further into the silent cradle of the cosmos, let your mind expand to encompass the physical anchors we have placed upon our homeworld. To sustain a presence in the stars, we have had to build a global architecture that mirrors the vastness of the space it monitors. This is the infrastructure of the infinite. The massive launch pads, the sprawling tracking stations, and the titanic antennas that serve as the ears and eyes of humanity. The cost of space is deeply rooted in these permanent monuments of steel and concrete, which must be maintained with unwavering precision even when the skies are quiet. In the soft indigo light of your imagination, visualize a remote desert landscape under a canopy of brilliant stars. So standing in the center of this stillness is a deep space antenna, a white parabolic dish so large it could hold a cathedral within its curve. This is not merely a piece of machinery, it is a sentinel. Because space is so vast and the signals from our ships are so faint, we require these great ears to catch whispers of data traveling from millions of miles away. The cost of building and powering these stations across the globe, from the parched outback of Australia to the high plains of Spain and the deserts of California, is a constant, silent investment in our cosmic dialogue. Close your eyes and feel the rhythmic, slow pulse of your breathing. Just as your body requires a foundation to rest upon, our space program requires the massive, specialized infrastructure of the launch complex. And I picture the launch pads as modern altars of engineering. They are built to withstand the equivalent of a small earthquake and the heat of 1,000 suns every time a rocket ascends. Beneath the pad, there are flame trenches the size of canyons, designed to divert the acoustic energy and fire away from the fragile payload. The cost of maintaining these structures, which are constantly battered by the elements and the corrosive salt air of the coast, is a primary driver of the high price of every mission. Think of the sheer scale of the transport systems. To move a rocket stage the size of a building, we must build specialized roads, massive crawler transporters, and custom ships that sail the oceans, carrying the silver husks of our ambition. Every mile of this journey is calculated, guarded, and paid for. When we are not just paying for a flight, we are paying for the 1,000 miles of logistics that happen before the engines ever ignite. In the quiet of your room, let the complexity of this physical network wash over you. It is a world within a world, a hidden geography of spaceflight that stretches from the factory floor to the edge of the atmosphere. As you drift deeper into relaxation, consider the power required to run this infrastructure. The supercomputers that calculate trajectories, the cooling systems for the cryogenic fuel tanks, and the high-voltage arrays that power the tracking radars. All of these require a constant flow of energy. This is a noise floor of expense that exists 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Even when no rocket is standing on the pad, the infrastructure is humming, waiting, and breathing. We are paying for the readiness of our species to leave the planet at a moment's notice. Visualize the tracking stations as a necklace of lights around the Earth. As the planet rotates, the signal from a spacecraft is passed from one station to the next in a seamless handoff. This global synchronization requires international treaties, specialized communication satellites, and a level of cooperation that is as expensive as it is rare. The cost of space is the cost of a world that has decided to work together to keep its eyes on the horizon. It is a physical manifestation of our collective focus, a global net cast into the dark to catch the truth of our origins. The silence of your vessel is protected by this infrastructure. You are floating in a void, yet you are held in the grip of these ground stations. They provide the navigation, the timing, and the safety checks that allow you to let go of your worries. In the dreamy, violet shadows of your mind, see the massive gears of the antennas turning slowly, almost imperceptibly, as they track your movement through the stars. They move with the grace of a planet, a slow and steady mechanical dance that ensures you are never lost. Think of the laboratories and the clean rooms, where the infrastructure of the payload is born. These are environments where even a single speck of dust is considered a failure. To maintain such purity requires specialized air filtration systems, vibration-isolated floors, and an incredible amount of energy. The cost of space is the cost of creating an unearthly environment on Earth just to prepare our machines for the reality of the vacuum. One we are paying to simulate the void before we ever reach it. In this deep state of stillness, realize that this infrastructure is a legacy. Many of the pads and tracking stations we use today were built during the first space race, a period of intense investment and rapid discovery. Maintaining these aging giants while building the new, high-tech facilities of the future is a delicate financial balance. We are living in a time where the old single-use infrastructure is being adapted for the new era of reusability. This transition, this refurbishing of the infinite, is a magnificent and costly undertaking that bridges the gap between our history and our future. As the gold light of the stars flickers against the indigo of the night, feel a sense of gratitude for these silent structures. They are the anchors that allow us to drift. They are the roots of the tree that reaches into the heavens. The high cost of space is the price of these roots, which must be deep and strong to support the weight of our dreams. Without the launch pads, the antennas, and the tracking stations, the rocket would be nothing more than a silver ornament. The infrastructure is what makes the journey real. But even as we contemplate these massive, unmoving structures, the world below us is changing. The way we build, the way we launch, and the way we return are all being reimagined. The infrastructure of the past was built for ships that never came back. The infrastructure of the future is being built for ships that land with the grace of a bird returning to its perch. The stars remain steady, but the ground beneath the pads is preparing for a new kind of fire. We are moving toward a time when space is not a rare destination reached by a disposable ladder, but a frequent journey supported by a sustainable bridge. The cost is shifting from the price of destruction to the price of maintenance and renewal. As you sink further into your rest, let the image of the great white antennas fade into a soft, glowing memory. They are still there, watching and listening, but your journey is taking you toward the next horizon. We have explored the weight, the speed, the math, the machines, and the people. Now we prepare to see the ultimate evolution of our reach, the return of the ship itself. The silence is absolute, and the peace is profound. You are supported by a global network of excellence, a physical and human infrastructure that ensures your safety in the dark. As we move toward the final chapters of our journey, we begin to see how the cost of space is finally being brought down to Earth. The transition from the stationary giants of the ground to the returning giants of the sky is beginning. We are ready to witness the end of the one-way era and the birth of a truly cosmic future. As we move toward the concept of the return, we prepare to see how the machines we once lost are now finding their way home. And so we turn our gaze toward the horizon where the rockets land. Chapter 9. The Return to Earth. In the deep, velvet stillness of our journey, we have reached a turning point in the history of the stars. For generations, the cost of space was defined by the finality of the ascent. We built, we launched, and we let go. But now, in the quiet theater of your mind, imagine a different story. A story where the machine does not vanish into the fire or the sea, but instead it turns around. This is the dawn of reusability, a shift in the cosmic economy that is fundamentally altering how we reach for the infinite. It is the transition from a one-way sacrifice to a graceful, repeating cycle of departure and return. Visualize a towering rocket booster, having already pushed its payload toward the indigo void, now suspended in the thin, cold air of the upper atmosphere. In the old era, this was the moment of its death. But in this new age, the machine wakes up. It performs a slow, rhythmic dance, a boost-back burn, using its remaining fuel to change its direction and point its silver nose back toward the cradle of Earth. The cost of space is being rewritten in these moments of high-altitude precision. By saving the most expensive part of the rocket, the engines and the primary structure, we are moving away from the era of disposable giants and toward a future where our ships are more like ocean liners than fireworks. As you breathe in slowly, feeling the cool air settle in your lungs, imagine the descent. It is a journey through fire, but it is a controlled descent, a masterpiece of modern physics and software. The rocket must navigate its way back through the same thick, resisting atmosphere we climbed earlier. But this time, it uses its fins and its thrust to steer itself toward a tiny landing pad in the middle of a vast blue ocean. This precision is the result of years of high-end R&D, the tireless work of the Invisible Army, who calculated every variable to make the impossible seem routine. The cost of this research is high, but the reward is the preservation of the machine. Think of the materials we discussed: the titanium, the specialized alloys, and the heat-resistant ceramics. In the past, these were lost to the depths. Now they are being brought home to be used again. In the soft, dreamy glow of your imagination, see the rocket landing on its legs, a plume of soft gold flame steadying its weight as it touches down with the grace of a feather. This act of landing on a needle is what allows companies like SpaceX and others to drive down the cost of access to the heavens. We are no longer throwing away a Boeing 747 after every flight. We are refueling it, inspecting it, and preparing it to fly again. The silence of this return is profound. In the control room on Earth, the tension is replaced by a quiet awe. The cost of space is no longer just about the tyranny of the rocket equation, but about the efficiency of the turnaround. How quickly can we inspect the engines? How many times can a single booster fly before the metal tires? These are the new questions of the cosmic age. We are paying for the durability of the ship, for the sensors that monitor its health, and for the specialized infrastructure that catches it as it falls from the stars. As you drift deeper into relaxation, contemplate the economic shift this represents. When a rocket is used once, the entire cost of its creation must be paid for by that one mission. But when a rocket flies 10, 20, or 50 times, the cost of its construction is spread across dozens of journeys. This is how we make space bedtime friendly, not just for the elite, but for the experiments, the telescopes, and the explorers of tomorrow. We are lowering the noise floor of space costs by refusing to let our best work become trash. Visualize the refurbishment process. In a quiet, high-tech hangar, the rocket is washed of the soot from its journey. Engineers in white suits move like slow-motion ghosts around its silver hull, checking every weld and every wire. And this is the maintenance of the infinite. It is a different kind of cost, not the cost of creation, but the cost of stewardship. We are learning to care for our ships as much as we care for our destinations. This change in mindset is as important as the change in technology. The stars above look down on a planet that is finally learning to leave without leaving a mess. The debris of the past is being replaced by the reliability of the future. As you sink into the warmth of your bed, feel the stability of this new era. The one-way bridge is becoming a permanent highway. We are no longer limited by how many rockets we can build, but by how many times we can fly the ones we already have. This is the true meaning of the shift to reusability. In the dreamy indigo shadows of your mind, see the rocket standing again on the launch pad, just days after its return. It looks the same, yet it carries the experience of the void within its metal. It is a veteran of the heavens, ready to go back. The cost of its second flight is a fraction of the first. This is the path to the stars that we have been seeking for 60 years. A path that is paved not with waste, but with wisdom. But the return to Earth is not just about the landing. It is about the data, the payload, and the knowledge that comes back with it. Every time a ship returns, it brings with it a story of what it encountered in the dark. It brings the results of experiments performed in weightlessness and the images captured by its eyes. The return is the final payment on the investment we made at the start of the journey. As the gold light of the sun catches the soot-streaked side of a returned booster, we realize that its scars are a badge of honor. They represent the victory of human ingenuity over the disposable nature of our history. We have learned to bring the magic back home. We have learned that the stars are worth reaching for, but our ships are worth keeping. The silence of the void is now a little less lonely because we know that the ships we send out are intended to come back to us. The bridge is no longer burning behind us. It is a sturdy silver span that we can cross as many times as our curiosity demands. The high cost of space is finally beginning to descend, following the same path as the rockets themselves, slowly, precisely, toward a soft landing on Earth. As we move from the physical act of returning to the broader implications for our future, we begin to see a new economy taking shape. We are ready to explore the new economy of space, the way that lowering the cost of the journey changes the very nature of what we can do once we are there. The light of the world is welcoming and warm. The journey is not over, but it has changed. We are no longer just visitors to the stars. We are becoming residents of the solar system. The cost of the entry fee is dropping, and the doors are swinging wide. As you drift toward the final stage of your sleep journey, let the image of the landing rocket fill you with a sense of completion. What goes up can now come down, and what comes down can go up again. The cycle is whole. The dream is sustainable. We are ready to look at the horizon of tomorrow, where the cost of space is no longer a barrier, but a bridge to the infinite. And so we turn our focus to the future that reusability has made possible. Chapter 10. The New Economy of Space. As we linger in the soft, indigo twilight of our journey, let your mind drift toward the horizon of a new era. We have seen the struggle against gravity, the staggering price of speed, and the tragedy of the disposable giants. But now, as the rockets begin to find their way back home, the very nature of our relationship with the stars is shifting. This is the new economy of space, a world where the high walls of cost are beginning to crumble, replaced by a bridge that is as sustainable as it is vast. In the quiet theater of your mind, imagine a future where the heavens are no longer a luxury for the few, but a playground for the curiosity of all humanity. Visualize the Earth below not just as a cradle, but as a busy harbor. In this new economy, the cost of a launch is no longer measured in billions, but in millions, and eventually, perhaps, in the price of a transatlantic flight. By reusing the most expensive components of our ships, the engines that roared at the start of our journey, and the silver structures that carried the fuel, we have unlocked a frequency of travel that was once a dream. Think of the satellites that now provide internet to the most remote corners of the world, or the sensors that track the health of our forests and oceans in real time. These are the first fruits of a lower noise floor in the cosmic budget. As you breathe in slowly, feeling the rhythmic calm of the deep night, consider how this shift changes what we build. In the old era, we had to make every satellite a masterpiece of perfection because we only had one chance to get it right. But in the new economy, we can afford to be bold. We can send up constellations of smaller, cheaper satellites that work together like a swarm of fireflies. If one fails, we simply send up another. This resilience is the key to our future. We are moving from the high-end R&D of a single, fragile diamond to the robust utility of a global network. In the slow, dreamy flow of this narration, imagine the industries that are beginning to stir in the vacuum. Think of in-space manufacturing. Away from the heavy pull of gravity, we can create materials that are impossible to forge on Earth. Perfectly round ball bearings, ultra-pure fiber optic cables, and even human tissues grown in 3 dimensions. The cost of space is now being balanced by the value of what we can create there. We are no longer just spending, we are producing. The vacuum is no longer just a void, so it is a laboratory of infinite potential. Let your mind wander to the concept of asteroid mining. In the vast, silent reaches between the planets, there are rocks rich in platinum, gold, and the rare earth elements we discussed in earlier chapters. In the new economy, we don't just send probes to look at these treasures, we send machines to harvest them. The cost of the mission is high, but the resources found there could power our civilization for 10,000 years. We are witnessing the birth of a cosmic commerce where the wealth of the solar system is finally within our reach. As you drift deeper into relaxation, feel the peace of a world that is no longer limited by its own borders. The new economy is not just about money, it is about accessibility. Or it is about the student in a small village who can now access the world's knowledge because a satellite was cheap enough to launch. It is about the scientist who can test a new medicine in microgravity because the ticket to the space station has become affordable. The cost of space is the price of our global evolution. We are investing in the democratization of the infinite. The silence of your vessel is now joined by the quiet hum of 1,000 other ships. In your mind's eye, see the orbital paths around the Earth as glowing silver threads. It is a busy, beautiful web of human activity. But even in this busyness, there is order. We have developed the software and the tracking systems, the invisible army on the ground, to manage this new traffic with the grace of a symphony. The cost of this management is part of our new reality, an unnecessary investment in the safety of our shared sky. Think of the moon as a gateway. In this new economic model, we don't just go to the moon to leave flags and footprints. We go there to stay. We build bases in the permanent shadows of the lunar poles where water ice hides in the dark. We use that ice to create fuel, turning the moon into a gas station for the rest of the solar system. By doing this, we bypass the tyranny of the rocket equation for long-distance travel. We are learning to live off the land of the stars. This is the ultimate way to lower the cost of space, to stop carrying everything from home and start finding what we need in the deep. In the soft violet shadows of the night, contemplate the people who will work in this new economy. They won't just be astronauts in the traditional sense. They will be miners, builders, doctors, and artists. The voice style of the cosmos is changing from the heroic tones of the pioneer to the steady, stable hum of the worker. Space is becoming a workplace, a neighborhood, and eventually a home. The high cost we have paid for 60 years was the entry fee for this future. Every failed rocket, every discarded stage, and every billion-dollar satellite was a lesson that led us here. As you sink further into your rest, let the complexity of the new economy fade into a feeling of simple, profound hope. We are no longer a species confined to a single island. We have learned to build the boats, to sail the currents, and to trade with the horizon. The stars are not just lights in the sky, they are the markers of our new territory. The cost was staggering, yes, but the return on investment is the survival and the flourishing of the human race. The gold light of the sun is rising over the curve of the earth once more, but it feels different now. It is the light of a new day for our species. We have moved from the history of the universe to the future of the universe. You are a part of this transition. By seeking rest and stillness in this cosmic journey, you are preparing your mind for a world that is larger than the one you were born into. The silence is absolute, yet it is full of potential. The low-volume cosmic hum of your journey is the sound of a billion dreams taking flight. The cost is being paid, the debt to gravity is being settled, and the doors to the infinite are finally truly swinging open. And we are ready to leave the economy of scarcity behind and enter the economy of abundance. As the image of the busy, silver-threaded earth fades into a soft, glowing orb, feel a sense of immense gratitude. We have explored the why, the how, and the what. We have followed the money and the math to the very edge of the void. Now, as we prepare for the final closure of our journey, we realize that the greatest cost of space was never the money. It was the courage to imagine we belong there. The transition to our final rest is beginning. The machines are quiet, the invisible army is satisfied, and the new economy is in motion. We have reached the end of the explanation and the beginning of the dream. As we move toward the final fade out, we carry with us the knowledge of our reach. The journey was long, the price was high, but the silence of the stars is finally ours to share. We are ready for the descent into a deep, dreamless sleep, knowing that the stars will be there when we wake, and the path to reach them will be shorter than it was before. And so we turn our focus to the soft closure of the night. As our journey through the economics and the infinite reaches of the cosmos comes to a gentle pause, let the weight of the stars settle softly over you. We have traveled from the deep well of Earth's gravity to the shimmering promise of a new cosmic economy. And now, it is time to simply be. The machines have grown quiet. The soft, low-volume cosmic hum is the only sound that remains. A steady, comforting vibration that anchors you in this moment of absolute peace. The silver threads of our global infrastructure are fading into the velvet dark, and the invisible army has finished its watch for the night. You are no longer a traveler, no longer a student of the sky. You are a part of the stillness itself. The high costs and the heavy math have dissolved into a dreamy indigo mist. There is no more fuel to burn, no more speed to maintain, and no more horizons to chase. Here, in the cradle of the deep universe, you are safe, weightless, and entirely at rest. Imagine the Earth as a small, glowing sapphire, receding slowly until it is just another steady light in the vast, violet garden of the night. The colors of the universe, deep blue, soft gold, and indigo, wrap around you like a warm, weighted blanket. Your breathing is slow, matching the 0.7 times pace of the cosmic drift, in and out. With every breath, you sink deeper into the soft gold glow of a dreamless sleep. The lesson of our journey is that while the reach for the heavens is vast and demanding, the return to peace is always here, waiting for you. The stars do not ask for your energy, they only offer their silence. Let the darkness be a soft cushion for your mind. The journey is complete, the cycle is whole, and the infinite is now your sanctuary. As the light fades to a final, gentle violet, let go of the last threads of the day. You are drifting, you are floating, you are home among the stars. Sleep now, in the quiet heart of the cosmos, where the only currency is peace and the only destination is rest. Good night, traveler.